here we have the American bison. Right across in front of us. Well, actually, he's going right across in front of this guy.
There's more.
Yeah, no. Oh, oh.
He's going to get closer.
Oh, okay. Well, I got zoom now. We recommend you don't take the bus tour.
There's a bubble. One looks like it's got yak in it with that big hump.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. What you see, Prince? fingerprints is looking. Something you will never see anywhere else in Williams. Oh, you're scrounging.
Pretty bird there too. Some oil, I think.
Yeah.
Squirrels closer to the. Oh, look at.
Well, he's not like the other one that stood up and defied you.
I know.
That was funny.
Wish we had gotten a better picture of that one.
Hold on.
There's this one.
Hold it right there. Hold it. There's a crow walking right up to that bear.
You need a battery today? Alright, thank you. Thank you. I think that was the last one of those too. Really? Of the black bear. I thought about getting it. Good stuff on there.
Yeah, I got a girlfriend and I need a keychain.
There you go. That worked, huh? Mm-hmm. And you'll know. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
All right. Well, now I like to make sure everybody knows why predators are important. You're out here at Bearizona, you've seen all kinds of predators by now, and these birds are no exception. And of course, predators range from the black bear all the way down to the robin. She's a predator too. She's out there helping to keep those bug populations under control. And we learned a long time ago that predators are essential in maintaining a healthy ecosystem. And actually, this is the raptor program, the beginning of our third season here at Bearizona. And when we first got here, it was kind of interesting because when they showed us where we're going to be flying the birds, which was this area, I'd never seen so many rodents in such a small, confined area. And we attributed at that point to the big wood piles that used to be stacked over there. But what was even more amazing, at least to me, is once we started to fly the birds here. It was your classic reintroduction of predators, because since then, we haven't seen a rat, a vole, a shrew. So it shows you that once nature has everything that it needs, it rebalances itself. So we're pretty sure that problem is behind us, and we are pretty proud of our birds for taking care of that, at least in this portion of the park. They're found in the southern part of Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, so we're pretty lucky to have these birds here. Their stronghold is Central and South America, but what makes these birds so unique is the fact they're social. There's only two socially hunting hawks in the world. One's the Galapagos hawk, and one's the Harris hawk. Now the bird that's coming out is Bonnie. She's about 3 years old. And to be in the raptor family, there are certain characteristics a bird has to have. Just like if you wanted to be a duck, you'd have to have webbed feet and a bill. If you want to be a raptor, you have to have sharp eyesight, a sharp curved beak, and sharp talons. And you can duck, but it won't help. She'll fly lower. Actually, I'll explain the reason Bonnie's flying so low. I'd like to be able to say, you know, we trained her to do this, so we could kind of give you a thrill. But we didn't train her to do it. The reason she flies low is she's using you. Bonnie knows that if she were to fly way above you, every wing beat would meet with a lot more air, and she would have to flap a lot harder. But when she clears you by about a ½ inch, the wing beats at the tops of your head form a cushion of air and actually help give her lift. And if there's a bit of a gap in between you, she usually doesn't go up and over. That's the waste of energy. She folds her wings and goes right through, and she really doesn't care about you whatsoever. And it is true. If you duck, she really does fly lower. I think she thinks you're trying to help her out, which is actually kind of sweet. And it gives you a very interesting perspective of these birds. Now, if you live in the southern part of Arizona, the Harris hawks are pretty common. We don't have them quite this far north. This is a little bit too cold. These are more of a desert bird. But they are incredibly interesting if you get a chance to get online and do some research on the Harris hawk. They actually go out and hunt like a pack of wolves in a family unit, which is just so unusual. And Bonnie's just having a great time today. I think she's enjoying the weather, and I think she's just gotten to where she likes strafing people. Now, if you watch her now, she should come pretty close to the ground, and that's actually what it's called, this ground effect. She's getting that same kind of cushion of air from the beats of her wings hitting the hard surface of the ground that she was getting from the hard surfaces of your head. All right, Bonnie, how about one more time? Little tail wag, and actually all the raptors do a tail wag, but the Harrises do it about 10 times more than the other birds, and it's kind of like you know she's having a good time. All right, Bonnie. Let's give Bonnie a big hand. Good job, Bonnie. All of us. Keep going. All right, well, the next bird we're going to be bringing out, actually we're going to be doing a training session here, and it's going to be pretty quick, but we have to do quick training sessions to be able to get these birds ready for our upcoming season. The bird we're going to be bringing out is an African augur buzzard. Now, most of the time when I say that, people think we're going to be bringing out this hideous-looking thing. But actually here in the U.S., we've grown up thinking that buzzard and vulture is synonymous, and they're not. Actually, in the U.K. and other places where taxonomy is more correct, if I brought out a North American red tail and called it a hawk, they'd say that, wow, it sure looks like a buzzard to me. So this is actually a cousin of our red tails, and about one chromosome off, and she fills the same niche in Africa that our red tail does here. And what Linda is doing is we're working this young bird. We want her to come from the back behind you. Linda's going to take a lure, toss it up, and Nara is eventually going to catch it and then land in the tree and eat it. But we always start backwards. So the tree, then the lure. And the lure, in Nara's mind, she just caught and killed out herself. Done because, you know, in Nara's mind, Linda would be trying to steal it from her and eat it herself. So Linda waits till she's done and then kind of steps over it. So Nara's not looking, and it looks like she's... The way that they can choke down something that big is raptors don't have a gag reflex. So that's the way that they can actually see them eating some incredibly large pieces of meat. Good job. All right. Well, thanks for being... All right, well, now we're going to be going to the family group of raptors that can dive at over 200 miles an hour, and they're also the mascot of the Air Force Academy. Any guesses? The peregrine falcon, right. Now, we don't have a peregrine, but we do have another very peregrines in the U.S. now than have ever been counted in history. And one of the biggest breeding populations is right up here at the Grand Canyon. So if you're on your way there, you take your binoculars. Well, the bird that's coming out next is Shine, and she's a Saker falcon. She's the only bird that we have in our program that doesn't belong to us. She's on loan from a propagation or breeding program that's trying to get the Sakers back out into the wild. Where she's native to northern parts of Africa, Europe, and Asia, they are highly endangered and pretty much due to loss of habitat, which is really the biggest threat to most plants and animals on the face of the earth today. But this is Shine, and she is a true falcon and has all the characteristics of the true falcon. She's got those beautiful dark eyes, and that really helps with glare. If you're diving and you're chasing a duck and it's kind of going back and forth and you're corkscrewing down in and out of the sun, glare could be a real problem. So having a pair of really good sunglasses on can help, and that's kind of how that works for her. Then her wings themselves are incredibly long and tapered, and the feathers are stiff. If her feathers were as soft as an owl, at 200 miles an hour, they would all snap. Then long, skinny toes. All true falcons have those super long, skinny toes, unlike the eagles and the owls and the hawks that have little short stubby toes for compression killing. Her toes are made long to get to the feathers of other birds, because most of the time falcons would rather eat other birds than mammals. Then a toe meal switch for the of another bird or mammal and snap its neck. So they're very efficient killers. And then, last but not least, and my favorite is the nose. All true falcons have a nearly perfectly round nose. And inside there's a tiny bone, and it's in the shape of an upside-down ice cream cone, and it's for diving. If you were diving at 200 miles an hour, the wind would be going by your face so quickly that it would create a vacuum, and you wouldn't be able to take a breath and you'd pass out. That little bone helps to break the vacuum and allow her to dive at incredibly high speeds. And it was years ago when the Air Force was working on developing the modern jet that they were studying the Falcon. They were having a horrible time getting these modern jets past a certain altitude. They get a certain altitude and the engines would stall. Well, now if you look into the cowling of a modern jet engine, you'll see that cone shape, which allows just the right amount of oxygen into those engines. And they actually got that by studying the Falcon. All right, well, Linda, thanks so much for bringing up Shine. And they are beautiful, and there's a good chance, thanks, Shine's free this year. And there's a good chance that they're going to want her back for breeding this next year. And it's kind of like the Seeing Eye Dog program where you get the puppy, and you get to keep it till it's, a year old. But she's going to make a fantastic mom. Well, now we're going to the night shift, so we're going to be talking about the owls. Now, our most common owl in North America is the great horned owl. And owls in general have different adaptations to help them hunt at night that the daytime birds of prey don't have. And one of them is silent flight. And it's the silent flight that helps the great horn to catch one of its favorite food items, which is a nocturnal mammal, and it's fierce. Nothing else will mess with it. It has no other real predator besides the great horned owl. Any guesses on that? Look at that. Oh. Yeah, it's the skunk. And that's because the skunk hears a predator coming with nothing wants to be on that end of the skunk. The skunk never hears the owl coming, and by the time it does, it's too late. As a matter of fact, if you're hiking through the forest and you smell skunk, you should look up. There's a good chance you're in the nest of a great horned owl. And that was Dick. His flight is silent, but he hasn't learned to keep his mouth closed yet. So we're going to bring out George. George is a great horn. He's just turning a year old. We got him this time last year. They'd been doing controlled burns in Williams here, and biologists were going through after the burns and doing some type of survey, and they found him on the ground. He was tiny. He looked like a giant ball of lint. And they actually brought him in. He was at the vet for about 3 weeks. We got him back. They said he was non-releasable because he's lost so much hearing. Not because of the fire, but his ears had been magnetized. And which means he still can hear a lot better than we do, but not well enough to be at the top of a tall pine and hear, a mouse 2 feet under the snow. So it's unfortunate we can't release George, but we're sure happy to have him. Once we play in the grass with the kids, he couldn't fly. He looked like Godzilla with 10 feathers. So George is not afraid of anything. This territory, but he has a very short attention span. So that's and he's loud. So eventually we'll be able to use George for demonstrating the silent flight of the owl when he starts to get a little mature. He gets really close, and that's a baby call. And he does a lot of the undulating back and forth, with the vision. Good job, George. That was really good. Last year he did so much of the bobbing back and forth, there were a couple times he fell off the perch, which were kind of embarrassing for him. But good job, George. There you go. The clacking is really exciting stuff for class. Okay, George, come on, you can do it. He's this way. You can see actually when next to those pines how camouflaged he actually is. When these owls get the trees and are still, you really just can't see him. George, this way.
I got it.
Yeah, this way. Go, George. Get it. Yeah. He really is. He's young and he likes getting out. And he wants to play with it, and something will catch his eye that's a little bit more exciting. And get his attention now. George. He's usually a little quicker than that. Flying this bird about 2 months before we used him in a program, and only because when he was really little and just learning to fly, he had this kind of shoe fetish, and he starts to look at someone's shoes in the audience, and it just made our adrenaline pump that he was going to try to land, and it was maybe scared him, but he would have attacked. Well, he would have attacked the sheep, but instead of abundance. Okay, come on, George. Come on, buddy. You don't have to have Linda come and carry you. That's embarrassing. Maybe on the perch. Yeah, we're going to try. Here he comes. Good job, George. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for your patience. He really is. He's doing pretty good. And he has been the most fun. He is just the sweetest thing. Well, what we would like to do now is demonstrate the silent flight of the owl. And George is still a little too yappy, and we don't want to use Digby, our skunk, because we hate to lose him. So we need a volunteer from the audience. Oh, how about right here in the front? Yeah. You can take one last picture of her. No, she'll be back. This is actually really fun. We're going to do some role playing, and it's really fun and it's fairly safe. And your name is? Taylor? All right, well, take a seat on our fake rock here, Taylor. And where are you guys from? Ohio, all right. Taylor from Ohio any longer. This is now Taylor the mouse from Ohio. And actually, Taylor, it's 2 in the morning, and we're all mice. We're out here at Bearizona. These are your aunts and uncles, cousins, brothers and sisters. This is your whole extended mouse family. Now, it's the beginning of spring, and there's still not much out there to eat. It seems like every night there's more and more predators. Taylor's a smart mouse. She's not the kind of mouse that would be out at 2 in the morning standing around in a clearing like a target. Taylor, you'd probably be hanging out by the rock pile or under a bush or something. There's a good chance you'd never see the owl coming. So to reenact that, we're going to have Taylor put on the blindfold. All right, Taylor. Now, can you see? Probably for the best the way the owls have been acting lately. All right, now, since you are no longer a person, you're now a mouse, you can't talk anymore. You're going to squeak. But, yeah, it's all right. I've got some help for Taylor. I've got a squeaker, and I'm going to hand it to you in either hand. And once you give it a good squeeze, perfect. Now, everybody can hear that? Good, because this is important. This is Taylor's means of communication. This is the way she's going to warn us that the owl is coming. Now, we're almost ready, but here at Bearizona, we really are very safety conscious. Working with some of the largest avian predators on Earth. These are Eurasian eagle owls. They don't get any bigger. So we do have some required head protection for Taylor. This is required headwear for all volunteers. All right, safety first. I think Taylor's ready. We're going to be very quiet. We're going to release that owl. Taylor, as soon as you hear the owl coming to get us, you're going to squeak like crazy to warn us. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Oh, Taylor, that was a little late. He's already down, Jeff. You can go ahead and take off your blindfold and look behind it. Well, let's give Taylor a big round of applause. She sacrificed her own life, and I think some of us got away. Thanks so much, Taylor, for good try. Nighttime predators. It's the vision. You're round. We have little muscles. We can move our eyes up and down, back and forth. Malachi, on the other hand, if you were to pluck his eyeball out, you notice really quickly it's not round. His eyes are actually cylindrical. As a matter of fact, they're so large, they take up more room in his skull than his brain does. So they're huge eyes. And because they go so far back into the skull, they're thick. You can't move them back and forth. With peripheral vision, it's pretty limited. And that's, of course, why owls have to turn their heads around so far. So who knows how far can an owl turn its head? So just shout it out. 180, 360, 180 to 190, halfway, the Hawks and Falcons could do. The 360 all the way, they can do that once, but then we did an owl. Actually, 270, 280 degrees, so good. Interesting is if they're at one extreme of the turn, if you blink at just the right time, it really does appear they twisted their head all the way around. The reason they can do that and we can't, we have 7 cervical bones with bony impingement. So on a good day, we can get about, 90 degrees. The owls have twice as many. They have 14 cervical vertebrae, no bony impingement. So under all those feathers, his neck is actually very long, very skinny, and very flexible. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning something about these avian predators, and thank you so much for your patience with some of our younger birds. And on your way out, make sure you check out the crows. They're not raptors, of course, but they do a neat trick. If you hand them $1, they rip it out of your hand, trot over and put it in a bucket for a raptor education program and flag. But thank you for spending some time with us, and enjoy the rest of your day here at Bearizona. And feel free to get out and take a look at now.
Look high up in the tree, see? What are you doing?